Hands where I can see them. You have my registration. A car like this isn't yours. The name matches. Stay out of it. Read the full page. Don't tell me how to work.
He used a key.
The alarm went off because the fob failed. Everybody step back. The plate matches too. I said step back! Why is the tow truck moving? That is a... Enter all 17 characters. You're done giving instructions.
He entered only 14.
It flagged a stolen car.
A similar car.
Different count to detain him. Not enough to ignore. My daughter is waiting. She can wait.
She already has.
We can finish this now. No one asked you. Read the document. Hands on the roof.
There's a gold seal. It's decorative. It says state...
Close it. Let him finish. You don't decide that. The document does.
Sir, we need to stop.
Turn around! On what charge? The ownership matches.
Move back. We're recording everything.
Put the phone down. Let her record. Officer, don't do this. Cuffs, now.
It says State Supreme Court.
Give me that. Answer the phone. You stay quiet.
Who keeps calling?
Chief Clerk's office. That proves nothing. Then answer it.
Officer, stop!
The officer held the registration inches from the black man's face, then laughed as if the name printed there meant nothing. "A car like this doesn't belong to you," he said, while strangers raised their phones and a tow truck rolled closer. Why would a quiet man in a worn coat refuse to argue? Why did he keep checking the courthouse clock instead of defending his wealth? And why did the rookie officer go pale when he finally read the gold seal inside the wallet? By the time the handcuffs clicked, one promise had already been broken, and the next phone call would expose far more than a stolen car mistake. Stay until the end, because the man they humiliated was about to judge the system. "Keep your hands where I can see them." Grant Keller's voice cut through traffic as Marcus Reed stood beside the midnight blue coupe. The metal roof felt colder than it looked. Behind him, one phone camera chimed, then another. "I already gave you the registration," Marcus said, "and I'm telling you not to reach for anything else." Keller held the wallet between two fingers. The gold seal inside flashed when the cover opened. Caleb Price, the younger officer, leaned closer. "Sir, that looks like..." Keller snapped it shut. "It looks like a prop. Stay by the rear panel." Marcus lowered his eyes to the silver watch pressed against his wrist. 9:41. The second hand ticked between the hiss of buses and the tow truck idling half a block away. "My daughter is expecting me at 10. Keller laughed. "Then she should expect a delay." A woman near the cafe window stopped stirring her coffee. A delivery driver glanced once and kept walking. Caleb unfolded the registration. "The name matches his license." "The vehicle class doesn't," Keller said. "It does if the trust is listed as owner." Keller turned. "Are you running this stop, Price?" Caleb's mouth tightened. Marcus did not move. The wool of his charcoal coat scratched his neck where the collar had folded inward. He wanted to reach into the car for the invitation on the passenger seat, where Nia had written, "Don't be late this time." Instead, he kept both palms visible. "May I explain the trust?" he asked. "You may wait." Keller stepped toward the patrol car and typed into the terminal. Blue-white light washed over his face. Marcus watched him enter only part of the vehicle number. "That is incomplete," Marcus said. Keller looked over his shoulder. "You want to tell me how to do my job?" "I want you to read all 17 characters." The cafe woman lifted her phone higher. Caleb moved beside the terminal. "He's right. You entered 14. Keller erased nothing. Dispatch flagged a similar car in another county. "Similar isn't the same," Caleb said. Keller's expression changed. Not doubt. Annoyance. "Go control the sidewalk." Caleb stayed 1 second too long, then stepped back. At 9:44, the tow truck pulled to the curb. Its frame groaned as the driver lowered the bed. Marcus saw the coupe reflected in the cafe glass. His father had rebuilt it by hand, saving from 12-hour shifts until every cracked piece of leather had been replaced. "Do not touch the vehicle," Keller warned. "I wasn't going to." Then stop looking at it like you own the street. The words landed softly. That made them worse. Marcus's phone vibrated inside his coat. Once, twice, a third time. Naya. He looked at Keller. May I answer? No. It may be urgent. So is determining who this car belongs to. Marcus drew one breath through his nose. Coffee, exhaust, cold stone, oil from the tow rig. The second hand reached 9:45. Caleb glanced at the wallet. Can I see that again? Keller opened it only enough to pull out the license. The gold seal showed beneath his thumb. Caleb caught two words before it disappeared. Supreme Court. His face drained of color. Keller, he said quietly. But Keller was already reaching for the handcuffs on his belt. The handcuffs cleared Keller's belt with a small metallic click. 6 hours earlier, Marcus had been barefoot in his kitchen, turning the old car key between his fingers while the kettle whispered behind him. 10 o'clock, Nia said through the speakerphone. Not 10:15. Not after one more call. I heard you. You always hear me. Marcus set the key beside a cream invitation. Beneath the address, Nia had written in blue pen, Don't be late this time. I'll be there before the doors open. A pause followed. He could hear chairs scraping and someone testing a microphone. You said that at Mom's memorial lecture. The court ran over. And at my licensing ceremony. A case came in. Dad. The kettle clicked off. Winter light touched the silver watch his father had worn for 27 years. He fastened it around his wrist. I will be there. No robe, no staff, no excuses. Nia exhaled. That's all I needed. After the call, Marcus faced the photograph above the table. His father beside the half-restored coupe, both hands blackened with grease, smiling as if rust were a promise. You'd tell me to leave the files, Marcus murmured. At 7:20, he carried his briefcase to the hallway, then stopped. He removed the thickest folder, placed it on the console, and slid the invitation into his coat pocket. His phone rang. Justice Reed, Evelyn Shaw said. The emergency motion may need review before noon. There is also a conference request at 9:30. No. Evelyn went quiet. Was that surprise? Professional shock. My daughter opens her legal center today. I know. I sent flowers. She asked me to come as her father. Then go as her father. He left the briefcase by the stairs. The garage smelled of cold concrete and cedar. Marcus pulled the cover from the midnight blue coupe. Dust floated through the yellow bulb. The car was older than Nia. Its paint held flaws no collector would accept, but Marcus knew each one. A dropped wrench, a narrow garage door, a winter branch after his father refused to wait out a storm. On the passenger seat rested a folded note in his father's blocky handwriting. A man can own many things. The hard part is showing up for the people who own his heart. Marcus read it twice. His phone vibrated. Nia had sent a photograph of the center's front doors. First client already waiting. He typed, Save me a chair. Her reply came at once. I always do. At 8:32, the coupe rolled into the gray morning. The heater clicked without producing warmth, and the old engine sent a tremor through the wheel. Marcus passed the courthouse towers and drove toward the former pharmacy Nia had turned into a legal center. At a red light, he placed his father's note on top of the invitation. For Dad. By 9:34, he had parked outside a café 2 blocks away. He stepped out to buy Nia the cinnamon coffee she liked, then returned to find the electronic key fob dead. Marcus used the mechanical key. The alarm erupted. Across the street, a security supervisor in a bright orange vest stopped and raised his phone. Marcus lifted one hand in greeting, but the man had already turned away to make a call. The alarm died 9 seconds later. The first patrol car arrived 3 minutes later. The patrol car stopped at an angle behind the coupe, blocking the lane. Marcus stood beside the driver's door with the mechanical key on his palm. The air smelled of wet pavement and coffee. The alarm's last echo seemed to linger after the sound died. "Step away from the vehicle," the officer called. Marcus moved toward the curb. "I own the car." "We'll determine that." Grant Keller, 36, broad-shouldered and frowning, approached without returning Marcus's greeting. "License and registration." "The registration is in the glove compartment." "The electronic fob failed, so I used the key." Keller studied the worn key, then the polished coupe. "That opens this car? You saw it open the door." A younger officer stepped from the passenger side. Caleb Price glanced at the lock, then at Marcus's hands. "Any damage?" Caleb asked. "No." Keller extended his palm. "License." Marcus removed his wallet slowly. His phone vibrated inside his coat, but he left it there. The security supervisor hurried across the street, his orange vest bright against the gray morning. "That's him," he said. "I saw him forcing the door." Marcus turned. "You saw me use a key." Neil Barton, 43, had a clipped mustache and kept touching his radio as if someone important might call. "The alarm went off," Neil said. "Alarms do that when a fob battery dies." "You were looking around." "I was waiting for it to stop." Neil glanced at Keller. "Cars like this get stolen." "Did you ask whether it was mine?" "That isn't my job." The cafe door opened, releasing warm air and cinnamon. A woman carrying a tray slowed at the uniforms. Keller read the license. "Marcus Reed. This address is 20 miles away." "My home is allowed to be 20 miles from my car." Caleb almost smiled. Keller's glance erased it. "Registration," Keller said. Marcus nodded toward the passenger side. "Glove compartment. Blue folder." Keller opened the door. The alarm chirped once, making Neil flinch. As he leaned inside, the invitation slid from the seat and landed face down. "Please don't step on that," Marcus said. Keller straightened with the folder. "Evidence?" "An invitation." "To what?" "A family event." Cold wind lifted the pages as Keller opened the folder. "This lists Reed Family Automotive Trust." "The trust owns the vehicle." "And you control it?" "I do." Neil gave a doubtful laugh. "Convenient." Marcus met his eyes. "You called police before speaking to me. Convenience mattered to you first." The woman from the cafe returned with her phone held low. At 9:38, Marcus's phone vibrated again. "Who keeps calling?" Keller asked. "My daughter." "Don't answer." "I wasn't going to without permission." The calm reply tightened Keller's jaw. Caleb crouched near the windshield and read the identification number aloud. Keller copied it into his notebook, missing the final 3 characters when a bus roared past and threw cold mist along the curb. "There are 3 more digits," Marcus said. Keller closed the notebook. "I wrote what I need." Behind the cafe glass, the woman raised her phone. Marcus looked toward the courthouse clock. 22 minutes remained, and Keller had not asked the one question that could end the stop. "What question?" Keller asked. Marcus kept his hands visible. "Whether the name on the registration matches the name on my license." Keller looked down at them. The license was upside down in his hand. "It says Marcus Reed," Caleb said. "I can read." "Then you have your answer," Marcus replied. A bus hissed away, spraying dirty water along the gutter. Wind pushed through Marcus's coat. Behind the cafe window, cups clinked, and the espresso machine released a sharp burst of steam. Keller turned the license around. "You expect me to believe a man dressed like you owns this car?" Marcus glanced at his charcoal sleeve. One cuff had been mended after his father caught it on a nail years ago. "What part of my coat changes the paperwork?" Neil Barton folded his arms. "Officer, I told you. He was hovering around it." "I parked it," Marcus said. Neil looked toward the crowd instead of answering. The cafe manager stepped outside. Sofia Alvarez was 31, with dark hair twisted into a knot and flour on one sleeve. She held her phone at chest height, its red recording light reflected in the glass door. "Is the sidewalk closed?" she asked. "Go back inside," Keller said. "I own the cafe." "Then manage it." "I am." "My customers want to know why he's being detained after showing you a key." Keller moved between her camera and Marcus. "You didn't see the beginning." "My exterior camera did." Caleb turned at that. Marcus's phone vibrated against his ribs. 9:40. "May I tell my daughter I'm delayed?" he asked. "No phone." "She is 2 blocks away." "You should have thought about that before touching a car that triggered an alarm." Marcus said nothing. A woman near the curb lowered her phone. A delivery driver stared at the pavement. Sofia did not. He used a key. "Ma'am, do not interfere. I'm documenting. You're creating a crowd." "The crowd was here first." Neil stepped closer. "Cars like this get stolen. People swap plates." Caleb opened the blue folder. "The plate matches." Keller took it from him. "A plate can be moved." "The insurance card matches the vehicle number, too." "Price?" Caleb closed his mouth. Keller lifted the registration, his thumb covering the final line. "This says a family trust owns the car, not you." "I am the trustee." "Prove it." "The line under your thumb does." Several bystanders leaned forward. Keller lowered the page, but his thumb stayed in place. Sofia zoomed in. "Move your hand." "You don't give orders here." "No," she said. "I keep records." A paper cup slipped from someone's hand and struck the pavement. Coffee spread around Marcus's shoes, steaming before the cold swallowed it. The owner did not bend to pick it up. Keller walked to the patrol terminal and entered the plate number. Caleb stood beside him. "Run the full vehicle identification number," Marcus said. "You're done directing this stop." The terminal beeped. Caleb leaned toward the screen. "It wants all 17 characters." Keller typed the 14 from his notebook. Marcus watched the cursor blink in the 3 empty spaces. Then the system produced a yellow warning for a similar midnight blue coupe reported stolen in another county. Keller smiled before reading the rest. "Stolen vehicle alert," Keller said. Caleb leaned toward the terminal. "Similar vehicle. Different county. Partial match." Keller tapped the yellow box. "Enough to hold the car?" "No," Marcus said. "Enough to complete the entry." The tow truck's engine rumbled at the curb. Chains clattered against the flatbed. Cold air slipped through Marcus's coat. Keller returned with the registration folded in half. "Last chance. Tell me where you got the car." "My father bought it damaged in 1998. We restored it together." Neil Barton laughed once. "Of course you did." Marcus turned. "What answer would satisfy you?" Neil's hand stopped on his radio. Keller opened the registration. His thumb covered the bottom line. Caleb pointed. "Move your hand." Keller stared at him. "Excuse me?" "The trustee designation is under your thumb." Sofia kept filming. "He's been covering it since he opened the folder." A gust lifted the corner of the page. Marcus smelled brake dust from the tow rig and cinnamon drifting from the cafe. Keller shifted his grip, hiding more of the line. "The document can be fabricated," he said. Then call the insurer, Marcus replied. We are not taking instructions from you. Call the trust administrator. Same problem. Run all 17 characters. Keller's jaw tightened. You rehearsed this? Marcus checked the courthouse clock. 9:42. No, I own the car. Caleb moved to the terminal and began typing the number visible through the windshield. Keller caught his wrist. Did I authorize that? I'm verifying ownership. You're undermining the stop. I'm correcting an incomplete search. For a second, neither officer moved. The terminal fan hummed. Behind the crowd, a spoon struck ceramic 3 times. Keller released him. Manage the bystanders. Caleb looked at the screen. He had entered 16 characters. 1 empty box blinked. The last digit is 7, Marcus said. Keller shut the laptop. Sophia lowered her phone slightly. Why would you close it? This scene is becoming unsafe. No one is threatening you. You're obstructing. I'm standing on my property. Neil stepped away from her. Keller faced Marcus. Hands on the roof. For what reason? Detention pending verification. The verification was 1 digit away. Hands on the roof. Marcus looked through the passenger window. The invitation lay face down beside his father's note. His phone vibrated again. Nia was calling. May I tell her I'll be late? No. Marcus placed both palms on the cold metal. The paint was smooth except for a shallow ridge where his father had once dropped a wrench. Caleb reopened the registration while Keller raised his radio. The final line was visible. Marcus E. Reed, sole managing trustee. Caleb read it twice. Keller. Not now. The name matches. The title matches. The address matches. Keller pressed the radio button. Requesting a supervisor for suspected stolen vehicle and non-compliant driver. Marcus kept his eyes on the invitation. Tell your supervisor to bring a terminal. The radio crackled. A woman answered. Sergeant Vance en route. Keller folded the registration across the line that proved Marcus right. The radio answered before Keller lowered it. 2 minutes out, Sergeant Laura Vance said. Marcus kept both palms on the roof. Behind him, the tow bed groaned lower, chains skipping against steel. Caleb unfolded the registration. The trustee line is clear. Put it away, Keller said. It matches his license. The search was incomplete. The cafe door opened, spilling warm air and cinnamon outside. Sophia stepped out with her phone raised. My footage is backed up. Go inside. No. I only reported what I saw. You reported a man using his own key, Sophia replied. A dark SUV stopped beside the patrol car. Laura Vance, 49, stepped out in a navy coat. Status. Probable stolen vehicle. Questionable documents. Non-compliant driver. I have complied, Marcus said. Vance glanced at the phones. Sir, let the officers speak. Caleb moved closer. The plate, insurance, license, and trust registration match. The alert came from 14 VIN characters. The system requested 17. Why 14? Traffic noise, enough for a probable match. It found a similar car in another county, Caleb said. Not this one. Keller's jaw tightened. He kept directing the stop. Run the full number, Marcus said. Vance's eyes hardened. Stop delaying a routine verification. I am asking you to complete it. The tow driver climbed down. Raymond Hale, 58, wore oil-dark gloves. I need written authorization before I hook a registered owner's car. Raymond held up the form. This doesn't list the complete number. Vance signed the bottom. Now you have authorization. That isn't what I asked. It is what you need. Caleb opened his notebook and copied 14 characters. His pen hovered. The last three are visible through the windshield. Price? Vance said quietly. Put the notebook away. Now. Caleb slid it into his pocket without writing the number. The empty line disappeared with it. Marcus's phone vibrated 4 times, Nia's signal for something urgent. May I answer? No calls during detention. My daughter is waiting 2 blocks away. Then cooperate so we can finish. I have cooperated since your officers arrived. Neil studied his shoes. Sophia said, You know the documents match? One more interruption, Vance replied, and I clear this sidewalk. This is my property. This is an active scene. Marcus lifted his hands an inch. Am I free to leave? Keller stepped closer. Hands down. That was a question. You are detained. For ownership verification? For interfering with an investigation. Marcus returned his palms to the roof. Cold pressed into his wrists. Vance handed the form to Raymond. Tow it. Raymond stared at the incomplete line. Do you need anything from inside? My invitation, and a handwritten note on the passenger seat. Nothing comes out until inventory, Keller said. The hydraulic motor whined. Through the glass, Marcus saw the invitation slide, followed by his father's folded note. Caleb pressed a hand over the notebook in his pocket, but did not take it out. The note slipped beneath the passenger seat and vanished as Vance told Keller, If he keeps resisting, cuff him. Turn around, Keller said. Marcus lifted his hands from the roof. The metal had left pale lines across his palms. I have not resisted. You keep arguing. I keep answering. Keller pulled his right arm behind him. The cuff closed over the silver watch, pinning its worn strap against bone. Too tight, Marcus said. You'll survive. Caleb stepped closer. The cuff is on the watch. Keller tightened the second one. Then he shouldn't wear jewelry during detention. Sophia's phone stayed raised. The tow chain scraped beneath the coupe. Vance pointed toward the patrol car. Seat him. Marcus looked at her. Let me call my daughter. You can call from the station. She is waiting now. That is not our problem. His phone vibrated inside his coat. 4 short pulses. Nia again. Please tell her I am alive and delayed. No one moved. Raymond stopped beside the tow controls. Sergeant, I can wait 60 seconds. You were hired to tow. The hydraulic bed rose with a grinding whine. Through the window, the invitation slid from the seat and vanished near the floor. Sophia said, His event is 2 blocks away. I can take a message. Keller opened the rear door. Back up. What should I tell her? Marcus met Sophia's eyes. Tell Nia I was on my way. Then he guided Marcus into the rear seat without care. The vinyl smelled of disinfectant, sweat, and wet rubber. Caleb crouched near the door. I'll keep the documents with the report. Complete the number, Marcus said. Caleb glanced toward Vance. All 17 characters. Keller shut the door. Through scratched plastic, Marcus watched Raymond secure the wheels. Neil Barton stood behind Vance, avoiding the phones. Sophia remained at the curb, filming. Keller climbed into the driver's seat. Caleb opened the terminal. Do not run anything else, Keller said. I need the transport log. You need to follow instructions. Caleb's fingers hovered over the keys. Marcus saw the young officer's face reflected in the dark screen. The patrol car pulled away at 9:51. They passed the legal center a minute later. White paper lanterns hung over the entrance. Through the window, Marcus saw an empty chair in the first row with a card taped to its back. For Dad. Stop the car. Keller checked the mirror. Sit back. That is my daughter's building. Everyone has somewhere to be. A black woman in a burgundy blazer stepped onto the curb, phone against her ear. She turned toward the patrol car. Marcus leaned toward the glass. Nia. She could not hear him. At the next light, his phone stopped vibrating. A notification glowed through his coat. The cuffs had shifted tighter over the watch, and he could no longer feel 2 fingers. Caleb noticed. We should adjust those. Keller drove on. Behind them, the tow truck turned the opposite way, carrying the car, the invitation, and his father's note. At intake, a clerk emptied Marcus's pockets into a gray tray. The old key struck plastic with a hollow click. Phone call? Marcus asked. After processing, Keller said. The station clock showed 10:14. As the clerk carried the tray away, Marcus's phone began vibrating again and again. The phone kept vibrating inside the gray tray until the clerk carried it behind a glass partition. Processing first, he said. Marcus sat on a bolted bench beneath a vent that pushed out air colder than the street. The cuffs were gone, but the skin beneath his watch had turned red. Across the room, Keller spoke to Sergeant Vance. He kept directing the stop. He knew too much about the paperwork, Vance replied. Caleb stood near the terminal, his notebook still in his pocket. Marcus looked at the wall clock. 10:18. I am entitled to a phone call. The clerk, Martin Crow, 40, with a coffee stain on one cuff, did not look up. After the report is entered. How long? As long as it takes. The room smelled of burnt coffee, damp wool, and sharp floor cleaner. At 10:27, Crow slid Marcus's phone beneath the opening. 1 minute. 7 missed calls from Nia waited. Marcus pressed play. Applause filled the speaker, then Nia's voice came close. They're asking me to start. Your chair is still empty. I told myself traffic, then court, then anything except the obvious. I can't keep building rooms for people who don't walk into them, Dad. I won't wait after today. The message ended. On the screen was a photograph of the first row. A white card reading, For Dad, rested against an empty chair. Time, Crow said. I need to call her. You heard him, Keller said. Marcus dialed. The call went to voicemail. Nia, I was on my way. I am at Central Precinct. I need you to know. Crow reached for the phone. 10 seconds. You had 1 minute. My daughter thinks I chose not to come. Keller folded his arms. That sounds personal. I did not choose this, but I gave you reasons to believe I might. I am sorry. Crow took the phone. The partition clicked shut. Marcus reached for the watch clasp. His fingers slipped twice. On the 3rd attempt, he stopped. Caleb crossed the room. Sir, I can get you water. Enter the full number. That would help more. Vance opened the report folder. We are waiting for county confirmation. You do not need the county. We decide what we need. Marcus placed the watch beside him. Keller dropped a form onto Crow's desk. Possible fraudulent registration. Hold pending verification. Caleb read over his shoulder. That is not supported. Vance closed the folder. Officer Price, outside. I ran the complete VIN. Caleb turned the terminal toward them. A green box filled the screen. Owner verified. The vehicle, plate, insurance, and trust registration all matched Marcus Reed. Crow stopped chewing. Keller's face shifted for less than a second. Vance stepped between the screen and Marcus. This does not resolve identity. My license resolved identity 40 minutes ago, Marcus said. The station clock clicked to 10:36. Caleb looked at the gold edge of Marcus's wallet in the property tray. There's something else in there. Keller moved first and shut the tray. Vance pointed to the hallway. Outside, now. Caleb did not move. Behind the glass, Marcus's phone lit again. The screen read, Evelyn Shaw, Chief Clerk, State Supreme Court. Crow read it aloud before anyone could stop him. Crow's hand hovered above the ringing phone. Let it through, Marcus said. Keller reached for the tray. Property stays secured. The screen went dark, then lit again. Evelyn Shaw did not call twice without reason. Crow glanced at Vance. It could verify his identity. It concerns the court, Marcus said. Answer it. Vance nodded. Crow placed the phone on speaker. Central Precinct. A woman's voice came through beneath rustling papers. This is Evelyn Shaw, Chief Clerk of the State Supreme Court. I need Marcus Reed immediately. Keller's folded arms loosened. Purpose? Vance asked. An emergency session began at 10:30. Justice Reed is absent. The lights buzzed. Printer stopped. Vance looked at Marcus. You said you had a family event. I did. You never mentioned court. The session was scheduled after I was detained. Evelyn's voice sharpened. Who is speaking? Sergeant Laura Vance. Is Justice Reed free to leave? No one answered. Marcus leaned toward the glass. Evelyn, I am unharmed. Delay the session. Do not contact the press. It is already delayed, she said. Daniel Cho is on his way. Keller stepped closer. We have not confirmed this man is who he claims. I have worked beside him for 11 years. A call is not verification. Then open the wallet you confiscated. Keller's eyes moved toward the gray tray. Caleb spoke from the terminal. The license photograph matches him. The full vehicle number confirms ownership. Vance turned. I ordered you outside. I ran it before that order. Print it. The printer coughed out a warm page smelling of toner. A green box sat above Marcus's name, address, and trustee designation. Keller read without touching it. A verified owner can still use false identification. Caleb pointed lower. State credential cross-reference available. Marcus's watch lay on the bench, its second hand moving in the cold air. Run it, Vance said. Keller faced her. Sergeant. Run it. Caleb entered the license number. The terminal paused while the vent rattled twice. Then a restricted record notice appeared with a state seal and instructions to contact judicial security. Crow stopped chewing. Evelyn remained on speaker. You now have 3 confirmations. Is he being released? Vance took the phone off speaker. We are resolving a procedural issue. A procedural issue removed a sitting justice from an emergency session and kept him from his daughter's opening ceremony. Marcus closed his eyes for one breath. Leave my daughter out of this, he said. She called Chambers looking for you. The words landed harder than Keller's questions. Marcus fastened the watch again. His fingers moved slowly, but the clasp closed. Tell her only that I am safe. I will tell her when you call from your own phone. Vance ended the call. Keller whispered, This could still be impersonation. Caleb opened Marcus's wallet before Keller could stop him. Beneath the license lay a black credential card edged in gold. He read the title, then held it toward Vance. Her face lost its color. The secured entrance clicked open. Footsteps crossed the tile, and a man's voice carried from the lobby. Court-martial's office. Where is Justice Reed? The secured door opened before anyone answered. Daniel Cho entered first, 45, lean in a dark overcoat, his marshal badge at his belt. Evelyn Shaw followed with a leather folder against her chest. Behind them came Police Chief Helen Ward, 56, silver-streaked hair, and rain on her shoulders. Justice Reed, Daniel said. Every keyboard stopped. Marcus rose. I'm here. Evelyn saw the red marks around his wrist. Are you hurt? No. Keller stepped forward. Chief, We had a suspected stolen vehicle and conflicting identification. Helen did not look at him. Sergeant Vance, is he under arrest? He was detained pending verification. Verification of what? The vehicle. Then his identity. Caleb placed the printout on the counter. Both were confirmed. Helen read the timestamp. At 10:31. Yes, Chief. She checked the wall clock. 10:43. Why is he still here? Keller answered. We had concerns about impersonation. Evelyn removed a photograph with Marcus's judicial seal. This credential comes from my office. His chambers called 12 minutes ago. Crow stared at the floor. Daniel opened the property tray and handed Marcus his wallet, key, and phone. The old key clicked softly. Your vehicle? Daniel asked. Towed. On whose order? Vance straightened. Mine. Helen faced her. Preserve every recording. Body cameras, dispatch audio, terminal searches, tow authorization, hallway footage. No one changes a note or completes a report without internal review present. Keller's jaw tightened. Chief, the crowd was escalating. The crowd was holding phones. They were interfering. Sophia called from the lobby. We were watching. Daniel opened the door wider. Sophia stood beside Neil Barton and Raymond Hale. Her phone was raised. Raymond held the tow sheet. Marcus checked his messages. Nia had sent only one after the voicemail. You were supposed to be there. He locked the screen. Evelyn lowered her voice. The emergency session can wait. It already has. The other justices understand. My daughter may not. Helen heard him. We can have an officer drive you. Marcus looked at all three officers. No marked car. Daniel will take you, Helen said. Keller stepped closer. Justice Reed, I didn't know who you were. Marcus slipped the key into his pocket. You knew what the document said. The printer fan whirred in the quiet. Keller looked down. Marcus turned to Helen. Release is not the end of this. It won't be. I will not use my office to direct any case involving me. That is your decision. It is my obligation. Caleb touched the notebook in his pocket. Sir, I should have completed the number sooner. Yes, Marcus said. You should have. Caleb nodded. At the exit, Crow noticed the silver watch still on the bench and offered it to Marcus. Marcus fastened it. 10:47. Outside, winter light flashed on the courthouse windows. Phones rose as he stepped through the doors, but he did not stop. Daniel opened an unmarked sedan. Where first? Marcus looked toward the legal center 2 blocks away. My daughter. Behind him, Helen Ward said, Lock the evidence room. This is now a formal inquiry. Marcus entered the car without looking back. Marcus opened the sedan door before it fully stopped. Nia stood beneath the legal center awning, one hand around a paper cup, the other flat against the invitation table. White lanterns shifted in the wind. You missed it, she said. I know. Daniel stayed by the car. Justice Reed, Chief Ward asked me to... Give us 5 minutes. Nia saw the red marks around his wrist. What happened? I was detained. For what? They said the car was stolen. Your car? Yes. And you couldn't call? They took the phone. Volunteers carried chairs inside. Their voices dropped as they passed. Coffee mixed with cold brick and printer ink. Nia looked toward the empty seat marked for Dad. You were really coming. I was 2 blocks away. She removed the card, folded it once, and held it out. Take this. Marcus accepted it unopened. At 11:22, he entered a conference room in the judicial building. Evelyn had arranged water, legal pads, and a recorder. Helen Ward stood beside a woman with silver-framed glasses, who aligned every page before speaking. Amanda Brooks, Helen said. 44, Civilian Review Commission. Amanda sat across from Marcus. Do you intend to file a complaint? I intend to preserve facts. That wasn't my question. It is my answer for now. Helen placed a recusal form before him. Any case tied to this incident could reach your court. Marcus signed at once. I will not hear it. Contact the assigned judge or request an outcome. Even if the officers are cleared? Amanda asked. Especially then. Evelyn switched on the recorder. Time of first contact. Approximately 9:37. For 43 minutes, Marcus described the incomplete number, the covered trustee line, the refused calls, and the cuffs over his watch. He did not describe Keller's face. Amanda noticed. Why leave that out? Expressions are interpretations. Records are not. Helen's phone buzzed. The body camera files are ready. Fluorescent lights hummed in the evidence room. An analyst copied video, dispatch audio, terminal logs, and tow records onto labeled flash drives. Each went into a clear bag beneath a tamper seal. Click, tear, press. The sounds repeated across the metal table. Caleb's camera showed the registration clearly. Keller's thumb covered the trustee line. Then Vance's recording caught Caleb saying, "The full number matches everything." Vance answered, "I know. We are not reversing him in front of that crowd." No one moved. Amanda replayed it. Helen's jaw tightened. Again. The sentence filled the room a second time. She knew, Amanda said. She protected the decision, not the truth, Helen replied. Evelyn pointed to the report. And wrote ownership unresolved. Marcus looked at the sealed drives. One reflected the ceiling light like ice. He unfolded Nia's card. Beneath for Dad, she had written, "Showing up still counts, even late." He folded it and returned it to his pocket. Daniel asked, "What happens next?" Amanda sealed the final drive. "We separate witnesses and compare first statements before anyone edits a memory." The evidence room lock clicked behind them. From reception came Sofia Alvarez's voice. "I have the full video, and I'm not leaving without a receipt." "Receipt first," Sofia said. Amanda Brooks met her with a custody form. "We copy the file, verify it, and return your phone." "And nothing disappears?" "Not if I'm doing my job." The copier hummed. Toner mixed with rain-damp coats. Marcus watched the progress bar crawl while Sofia signed every line. Her video began with Neil's call and ran until the patrol car left. It caught Keller holding the license upside down, Vance hearing that the full number matched, and the crowd falling quiet when the cuffs closed over Marcus's watch. "Play it through," Marcus said. 3 weeks later, every chair at the public hearing was filled. Camera shutters clicked beneath the low ceiling. Caleb Price stood at the witness table, pale under the lights. "Did you believe the vehicle belonged to Mr. Reed?" the chair asked. "By 9:42, yes." "Then why didn't you stop the detention?" Caleb unclipped his badge, placed it beside the microphone, and kept his fingers on it. "Keller outranked me. Then Sergeant Vance did." "That explains your fear," Amanda said, "not your silence." "No, ma'am." The air conditioner rattled. "I told myself I would correct the report later. Later was safer for me than right then was for him." Marcus lowered his eyes to the silver watch on his wrist. Raymond Hale testified next, his oil-dark gloves folded in his lap. "The tow authorization was incomplete," he said. "I asked for the full number." "Could you have refused?" Raymond looked at Marcus. "Yes." The answer stayed in the room. Sofia described the covered registration line, the refused call, and the empty chair visible through the legal center window. Why keep recording? The chair asked. Because everyone else kept deciding it wasn't their place. Neil Barton sat last. His gray suit pinched at the shoulders. What did you observe? Amanda asked. A man opening the car. The alarm sounded. With what? A key. Did you speak to him? No. Why not? Neil rubbed the witness card. I thought police would sort it out. Before or after you called him suspicious? His mouth opened, then closed. Before. Marcus was called after lunch. He turned the microphone so its red light no longer shone in his eyes. Justice Reed, the chair said, did your position change the outcome? It changed the speed of the correction. Would another person have been released? I cannot answer that. What can you answer? Marcus looked at Caleb's badge, Raymond's gloves, and Sophia's phone sealed in a clear sleeve. My title reached the room before the truth did, he said. That is the problem. It saved me too late. Someone without that title might never have been heard. Across the aisle, Keller stared at the floor. Vance kept her chin raised, but her pen had stopped moving. The chair closed the folder. The commission will examine whether evidence was ignored and the basis for detention falsified. Cold rain tapped the courthouse steps as the room emptied. Caleb remained behind, his badge beside the microphone. Marcus paused at the door. Pick it up. Caleb looked at him. You may still have to earn the right to wear it. Leaving it there earns nothing. Behind them, Amanda opened the first sealed evidence bag. The seal tore with a dry snap. Amanda slid Keller's body camera drive onto the table. We compare this with dispatch first. Caleb remained near the doorway, badge back on his belt. The footage showed Keller entering 14 characters, closing the screen before Caleb could finish, then calling it a confirmed stolen vehicle alert. Amanda stopped the video. It was not confirmed. No, Helen said. The next clip carried Vance's voice. I know. We are not reversing him in front of that crowd. The fluorescent light buzzed. Caleb swallowed. I should have said it louder. You should have said it where it changed the outcome, Amanda replied. 2 months later, the disciplinary room smelled of paper and coffee. Keller sat alone at one end of a long table. The board chair read the findings. You relied on incomplete data, misrepresented a partial alert, and continued detention after ownership was verified. I made a judgment call. Helen looked at him. You made several. I thought he was manipulating us. Because he knew his own paperwork. Keller's fingers pressed into the table. Termination is effective immediately, the chair said. No one moved. Keller unclipped his badge, held it a moment, then placed it on the empty desk beside an untouched glass. The metal made almost no sound. In the adjoining room, Vance received her ruling. You are removed from supervisory duty, Helen said. You may remain in a non-command assignment pending retraining. Vance's jaw shifted. I protected my officer. You protected his mistake. I was keeping control. You had control. You chose appearance over correction. Vance glanced through the glass toward Keller's vacant chair. What happens to Price? Probation, reporting training, monthly review. He disobeyed me. He preserved the result you tried to bury. Caleb's hearing lasted 12 minutes. Amanda asked, Why should you remain? He looked at the badge on his chest. Because I know what silence costs now. That is not enough. No, ma'am. It has to become action. The board placed him on 1-year probation. That afternoon, Raymond Hale called Marcus. Your car is ready. The coupe waited beneath a corrugated roof, rain trembling across the midnight blue paint. Marcus ran his thumb over the dent near the windshield. Raymond held out the old key. I should have refused the tow. You asked the right question and accepted the wrong answer. Marcus opened the passenger door. Cold leather, machine oil, and faint cinnamon rose from inside. The invitation was creased beneath the seat rail. He reached farther. His fingers touched folded paper. The note came out dusty at the edges, his father's block letters still dark. A man can own many things. The hard part is showing up for the people who own his heart. Raymond turned away to check a chain that did not need checking. Marcus sat behind the wheel without starting it. His phone showed a message from Nia. Dinner. 7. Don't be late, he typed. I'll be early. Before leaving, he placed the note on the passenger seat and fastened the silver watch. Across town, Keller returned for a cardboard box. His badge was gone, but its outline remained in the dust on the empty desk. 2 confirmations, Marcus said. Not one officer's assumption. The table felt cold beneath his fingers. A draft policy lay between him, Chief Helen Ward, Amanda Brooks, and Nia. Helen tapped the first paragraph. Full VIN before detention or tow, plate, insurance, registration. And if they disagree? Amanda asked. A second officer verifies. Add civilian review if detention continues after ownership is confirmed, Marcus said. Helen nodded. Put it in. Outside, tires hissed on wet pavement. Junior officers need protection when they challenge a stop, Amanda said. Caleb sat in the back row. Log objections. Name, time, reason. Vance, 3 chairs away, kept her eyes down. Monthly body camera audits, Helen said. Independent, Marcus added. Amanda studied him. You do not trust the department to inspect itself? I trust records more when someone else can see them. At noon, the council chair leaned toward his microphone. Justice Reed, is this punishment disguised as reform? No. Punishment looks backward. Procedure decides what happens next. What do you want today? A rule that does not require a title to be believed. 2 signature spaces waited where the old form had required one. Helen signed first. Amanda signed second. The second pen stroke sounded louder than the applause. Later, Nia walked with Marcus through the legal center. Volunteers stacked folders beneath the sign. Vehicle detention review. Free consultations. You got your rule, she said. We got a starting point. You always say that after winning. Marcus turned a coffee cup so the handle faced her. Is that criticism? It is history. Rain ticked against the windows. We'll help people challenge bad tows, Nia said. But hear me. I'm listening. You fixed the system faster than you called me back. His hand stopped beside the cup. I was protecting the investigation. I wasn't an investigation. No. You were late before any officer touched you, Dad. Not that morning. For years. Marcus folded the policy once, then opened it. I thought providing was the same as being present. It isn't. I know. Knowing is not showing. Marcus powered off his phone and placed it in an empty drawer. What are you doing? Staying until the chairs are stacked. That won't erase anything. I'm not asking it to. At 6:40, the last client left. Marcus carried folding chairs while Nia locked the cabinets. His coat hung over reception, and the silver watch caught amber light with each chair. Caleb arrived with the first audit report. 3 incomplete VIN searches, he said, all corrected before detention. Who flagged them? Amanda asked. 2 rookies and a dispatcher. Vance's name appeared as reviewing officer on the last page. Marcus saw it and said nothing. Nia placed 2 pens beside the signed policy. 1 decision, 2 confirmations. And someone outside the room who can check both, Marcus said. She handed him the spare key to the center. 6 months, first anniversary, 8 in the morning. Marcus closed his fingers around it. I'll be early. Nia did not smile, but she left his coffee cup beside hers. At 7:18, on the morning of the center's first anniversary, Marcus unlocked the front door before Nia arrived. The hallway smelled of fresh paint and coffee. He carried folding chairs from storage, setting each one beneath the lanterns. His phone remained off in his coat pocket. Nia entered at 7:41 with 2 trays. You're early. I said I would be. You usually say many things. Marcus took 1 tray. Today, I brought coffee. She placed 1 cup beside a chair marked for Dad. The old card rested on the seat, its crease softened from being folded and unfolded. Neither mentioned it. By 9, the center was full. Sophia Alvarez ran the refreshment table and corrected anyone who called her recording brave. I held a phone, she said. He had to stand there. Raymond Hale arrived in a clean work shirt with the coupe's spare key. Since the new policy took effect, his towing company had refused 11 incomplete orders and required written ownership verification on every disputed pickup. Neil Barton came alone. He had left security work and now trained building staff to speak to people before calling police. I should have done that the first morning, he told Marcus. Yes, Marcus said. Neil nodded, accepting the smallness of the answer. The anniversary report hung near reception. In 6 months, the 2 confirmation rule had stopped 23 wrongful tows. Independent auditors reviewed every disputed detention. Rookie objections now entered the official record instead of disappearing into closed notebooks. Caleb Price stood beside the report in uniform. His probation had 4 months remaining. 3 times he had challenged senior officers before a detention continued. Each objection had been upheld. I still hear myself saying nothing, he told Marcus. Then speak sooner next time. I do. Laura Vance had completed retraining and remained in a non-command assignment. She sent no apology, only a signed statement supporting the review rule. Keller had not returned to policing. He worked in fleet maintenance in another county and declined every interview. At noon, Nia led Marcus to the curb. The midnight blue coupe waited beneath sun, polished but not stripped of its history. The shallow ridge in the roof remained. So did the leather his father had stitched by hand. A sign inside the passenger window read, Community Court Rides. Twice each week, volunteers used the car to drive elderly clients to hearings, benefit offices, and legal appointments. You're letting strangers ride in Grandpa's car? Nia asked. He built it to move people. She opened the glove compartment. His father's note sat inside a wooden frame. A man can own many things. The hard part is showing up for the people who own his heart. Beside it lay Marcus's silver watch. You took it off. For today? Why? He looked toward the center, where Sophia laughed with Raymond, and Caleb helped an older woman down the steps. I wanted to know the time without watching it. Nia closed the compartment. That almost sounded wise. Almost. That evening, after the last client left, they stacked chairs together. Nia placed the For Dad card on one occupied seat and handed Marcus the second cup of coffee. It's cold, she said. I'm staying. She sat beside him. Outside, the coupe waited under the lantern light. This time, the chair was not empty. Have you ever watched someone be judged before the facts were checked, or seen a quiet voice ignored until a title forced people to listen? Share your experience in the comments, especially if a small decision by one witness changed what happened next. Send this story to someone who believes dignity should never depend on wealth, clothing, rank, or connections. Subscribe for more stories about justice, quiet resilience, second chances, and the difficult work of changing systems, not only punishing individuals. And remember the people who spoke late, then chose to speak sooner the next time. Real change often begins when one person stops looking away.